And so that's what, in part, what the cycle track network would accomplish, is that you have people like children, families, people that are not used to basically being a road warrior out there, dodging cars and everything else, feeling comfortable on the streets. And so when you have that in place, bike share program can be more successful.
Is that on the radar currently?
Yeah, I think council visited that a year or two ago, and they held back, and I think that's the right approach, actually. Like Augustine.
They did, yeah, that's right. Yeah. They did hold back, though, and I guess that was based on what they'd seen in other cities. A bit of a loss. Yeah,
there were some cities where it wasn't so successful, and I think that was part of the funding of those programs. It has been successful in other cities. But yeah, to have a safe network to connect where these bike stations are, I think is really pivotal. I think if you were to put bike stations out there right now, it might be a bit challenging to get between them.
It's a funny thing about bike share. Actually, I read an interesting stat the other day. There's now 34 times as many bike share bikes in the world as there are Starbuckses.
Wow,
and
is that
there's
right?
a lot of Starbuckses.
Yeah, that's incredible. Actually.
Yeah.
Hearing that, you'd think that there's a model out there that we could probably follow and get it done right with the knowledge that's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's 500 cities around the world that are making it work.
So then how do you make it sustainable? I mean, it's public money, obviously. Is it some private money? Is it more private money? I mean, how does that model work, do you think?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's something I think that for Calgary would have to be studied. I don't have the answer to that.
Probably some private money, though, I would think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Real quick, local bloggers, Twitter pundits, they've been straight up very negative. But I can say the words buck wild regarding this issue, frankly. How do you respond to those that claim, Bike Calgary is flat out anti-automobile?
Right. Yeah. Buck wild, passionate would be a good way to put it. Yeah, passionate people that are on with many points of view. It's not about being anti-car. It's about being in favor of transportation choices, like we've been talking about. So the beautiful thing about cycle tracks, another beautiful thing about cycle tracks, is that they actually make the road and the road space a lot more predictable for people that are driving cars. And so the last thing I want to see as I'm driving around downtown is somebody that's being unpredictable on the road, whether they're in a car, on a bike, bus, walking, what have you. And when everybody has their space, everybody knows sort of where they're going to be. It makes the road a lot more predictable and more comfortable for everybody.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add to Augustine's comment there that the design for First Street East actually makes it safer for pedestrians as well in two ways. One is on the side that you have the cycle track, those pedestrians that are on a monolithic walk, which is right against the travel lane, they're separated now by a cycle track, so they're not right against vehicles.
That's right,
the other thing is when they're crossing the crosswalk on the side where the cycle track is, it's a lot more predictable behavior for the cars when the cars and bikes and pedestrians go, so it's safer in the regard for pedestrians as well.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that. It does make a bit of sense in that regard. Calgary's got over 700 kilometers of pathways, which still is a stat that blows my mind. It's more than any other city in North America, I believe, something that we can definitely be proud of. But primarily, our pathways are used recreationally. And I can't help but think that the stigma of cycling being a leisure activity has maybe, I guess, people that are bona fide cyclists are definitely going to be utilized, I think, but the average car-loving Calgarian just doesn't connect using cycles, pathways, bikes in general, to get to work as opposed to just out to have a good time for leisure. Is there a mentality shift that maybe we need to see amongst citizens in order to kind of understand exactly what we're going for or what you're going for here?
That's part of the conversation, right? This is why we're talking about it now. The issue of the cycling strategy came up a few years ago, starting the conversation in the city, starting people thinking about this sort of thing. So the multi-use paths are used a lot by recreation. They're also used a little bit by as a regional transportation route. A lot of people that do bike on them. I guess one of the nice things about biking to work is that it's a little bit of both. You get a little bit of recreation on your way to work and on the way to the grocery store and what have you. I don't think it has to be an either or. And, I don't think that most people would say I'm either in favor of this mode of transportation or that mode of transportation. I think most people would say that it's a good idea to have a mix.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just to add to that, a real focus mandate of the cycle strategy is really all trips. Right, so it's the trips that Augustine referred to earlier for shopping, for commuting, for recreation. And so we're really trying to develop a citywide, not just that we're talking about the Center City Cycle Track Network, but the citywide network, and trying to accommodate all those trips for all users.
Yeah, and that's important to know. That's definitely a good point. Folks, we're going to jump to our final break here and wrap up the discussion. Stay with us.
Whether you're in the mountains, on the prairies, or in the city, wetlands play an important role in sustaining biodiversity in our world. These are not just small, shallow lakes. These ecosystems are critical for the survival of wildlife, water purification, and reducing carbon in the atmosphere. There are many ways that you can help the Canadian Wildlife Federation conserve this valuable resource. See how you can get involved at CanadianWildlifeFederation.ca.
Hey, Joe. Just real finally here, I guess I just kind of want to give you the opportunity to let people know, what you think they need to know regarding the cycle strategy plan moving forward.
Well, I encourage viewers to definitely go to our website. Like I said before, it's such a passionate team that's done so much work. There's so much data collection that's done by professionals, analysis that we have, on the web. Check that out. We're having this debate at committee. So if people feel strongly one way or another, there's a public opportunity for debate there, like we had a few weeks back. But again, I just want to emphasize the fact that the cycling is one layer of a bigger picture. We're going to have a challenge here as we hit 1.5 million, 2 million residents in the city to kind of build our way out of congestion. Yeah. So we need to look at other options, and that's really what we're doing.
And then how can people in the different wards get a hold of Bike Calgary? What's their avenue there?
Absolutely. BikeCalgary.org. Go hit up our website, sign up, become a member. It's easy, it's fun. Join us on Twitter. We got lots of Twitter followers. We're very active there. And we encourage everybody like Joe as well. Get involved in the conversation, speak to your counselor, and speak to anybody who's involved or who you think might be interested.
Let your voice be heard. Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
Guys, thanks very much for being here tonight. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, Kevin.
Folks, that's all the time we've got. Thanks very much for joining us tonight. As always, good discussion. You can keep the conversation going on Facebook and Twitter as well. If you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, don't be a stranger and drop us a line. Thanks again and take care.